In this video, I'm going to be discussing estimation, and I'm going to be showing you our first strategy for estimation, which we've actually already used, rounding. But first, let's talk about what estimation is. So estimation is when you use numbers that are close to the numbers in the story. So here we have these numbers that we'll be using, and when we are estimating, we are using numbers that are nearby these numbers. And when we estimate, we get an answer, and it helps us determine if the actual answer is reasonable. So it's important to note that if you have a word problem, you can solve it and get the actual answer, and then solve it with estimation and compare them. So you can do the actual problem solving and then the estimation and compare, or you can also do the estimation first, then solve it with the actual numbers and compare. So it really does not matter what order you do it in, but it's all about figuring out if the actual solution is reasonable or not. So here, just to save time, the actual answer to this number story is $109. So the third grade teachers have $800 to spend on supplies. We spend this much on books, this much on pencils, and this much on iPad apps. And so we want to know how much money is left over to spend. So I solved it and I got $109. Now I'm going to estimate. So I'm going to go through the whole process again with estimation to see if this answer makes sense. So here I have all of the money, and I want to subtract the money that I spent to see what's left over. So I could either do 800 minus 289 minus 75 minus 327, so do 3 sets of subtraction, or I can add all of these together as this is all of the money that I spent, and then subtract it from the total. Either way will work. So I'm just going to add all of these numbers together and then subtract it from the total. So since I'm going to be rounding, which is something we've already learned about, I'm going to round each of these numbers. I can round to the tens place, which will be more accurate, or I can round to the hundreds place. Either way will work. So for this one, I'm going to round to the tens place. So 289 would round to $290. 75 would round to $80. And 327 would round to $330. So this is all of the money that I've spent. And so when I add that all together, that would be, so 290, 80, and 330. Let me do some regrouping here. So I have 9, and one more would give me a new 100. So I've done that. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I can make another 100 here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this number, though, is not my answer. This is, I've spent about $700. But the question is, how much money is left to spend? So I need to take the money I spent and subtract it from my total. So I'm going to do $800 minus the $700 that I spent, and that leaves me with $100 left over. So my estimate is that I have about $100 left over. So now this is when I need to compare. My actual resolution was $109, and my estimate was $100. When you are in the 3 digits and your estimate and actual are only different by a few ones, that's pretty reasonable. Now if we're in the 3-digit numbers and my estimate was off by hundreds, that's not reasonable. There's and there's a problem, and we need to look over that. So since they are so close, yes, it is a reasonable answer that there's $109 left. So for your homework tonight, you need to use the strategy of rounding to estimate your actual answer. Is it reasonable, the actual answer, by estimating? So use that strategy, and then tomorrow we will be learning about some different strategies that you can use for estimation.